talk about the 132 mile an hour pursuit that ended up going through downtown Atlanta that resulted in a pit and a collision.
Yeah.
So this video has been viral and it's been playing everywhere. It's all across social media. But when we dug into this and we did the research on it, it's really interesting. This actually came out and the incident actually happened March 22nd of 2022. So this happened a long time. Well, I mean, a little over a year ago.
Yeah.
But now it's coming to light. What happened is the officer observed a high-speed vehicle. It was a BMW, which they visually projected the vehicle was doing 108 miles an hour, get behind it, try to stop it. Then they used the LiDAR and then discovered that the vehicle ended up reaching speeds of 132 miles an hour. The whole pursuit only lasted just over 7 miles. It went through some freeways and then ended up taking the off-ramp where it was flying through downtown, blowing red lights. And you can hear in the video, the officers are riding in the car and he's saying, clear left, clear right. And they're blowing through red lights.
Yeah.
While the pursuit, the patrol car ends up pulling up next to it, does the pit maneuver at a high speed, and then spins the car out, and then it crashes into an SUV that's parked that has people in the car and then throws that car out into the street.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about that. And here's the thing. Okay. I think this video went viral because you have two larger social media platforms posting this video. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I do want to give credit to Adam from Police Post. He posted the video as well and talked about the risk versus reward and why this was negligent on the officer's behalf. And we'll dive into that. But there's another social media platform who I'm not going to mention who posted the video and was giving the officers accolades for pitting the car at such high speeds and said that it was cool. Here's my issue with doing that. Okay. If you're a law enforcement training platform online and you have a large following, you have to understand that if you're going to be posting these things that are reckless and that could potentially put cops in prison or jail for doing something so reckless as this, and you're saying that it's cool, you're going to have a generation of cops that are going to start to think that those things are cool when they're not. And now you're basically putting these cops in a situation where in real life, should they be encountered in a situation like this, they're going to tell themselves that it's cool and they're not going to shut that down. So I want to hit on that real quick. Okay. Let's talk about it. So Mark, you said that the want for the vehicle was speed,
right? And failure to use a blinker and unsafe lane change.
Okay. So we have traffic violations, right? Now you're talking highway speeds. Okay. I've been in several car chases, well excessive over 100 miles an hour on the freeway, middle of the night, minimal to no traffic. I can't say that I'm not okay with that, depending on what the one is. The moment you start reaching surface streets, I think that's when you really, really have to start to scale things back a little bit and seriously start self-assessing, like what exactly are you chasing? And the reality is you're in downtown Atlanta, Georgia. Clearly in this video, as you guys can see, we're watching it. This is a huge city and it's very populated and it's busy.
It's at 1 a.m.
So you got a lot of bars and stuff downtown. Yeah. Like there's a lot going on, right? And even at 1 o'clock in the morning, you can still see there's a decent amount of cars parked on the side of the street. The streets are narrow. And we know from working in downtown environments, it's not, the roads are very narrow. So we're not out on some like country roads where, there is no traffic. Okay. You're in a downtown populated area. When you brought up that, if you guys, we hear in the audio, the cop is saying clear right, clear left. When you're going that fast and speeds excessive, I would say well over 100 miles an hour. What if the intersection wasn't clear?
Yeah.
There's no way you're stopping in time.
To me, they're saying clear left, clear right is maybe for the camera, because you're not able to process and to see that. And the driver clearly is so focused on driving and following that car that your passenger is checking for traffic, which they should be doing. I mean, you have 4 eyes in the car at that point.
Right.
But if you, at the point when he's saying clear left, clear right, if you were to say clear left, car right, clear left, stop, no possibility could that patrol car have ever stopped. He would have creamed right through someone.
Yeah. Either they're going to get killed or whoever they hit are more than likely going to get seriously hurt or killed. And let's talk about that for a second. So, Wilson v. City of Atlanta. This is a court case that came out where a plaintiff was struck by a vehicle that the cops were chasing and they suffered injuries. basically there are several court cases that have gone up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court basically has come down and ruled that you really need, as the officer, need to weigh out the risk versus reward. What are you chasing, and what is the recklessness of the person trying to elude you? And what you really have to understand, and what the Supreme Court is saying, is that you can be held civilly liable if you are not driving within due regard of the safety of the public. Meaning, no matter what it is that you're chasing, if the recklessness of the driver outweighs the reward, and you as the officer are not driving within due regard of the public safety, no matter what, you can be held civilly liable should somebody get hurt or killed.
So listen to this, Kyle. This is quoted from the officer's report. The officer said the driver drove in a reckless manner, reaching speeds of 140 miles an hour, making improper lane changes, failing to signal, and failure to maintain his lane. And then he says the driver showed a total disregard for public safety. But you're saying the same exact thing about the officer.
So exactly. Is that proper to document for the purposes of the report and to show that the suspect is driving without due regard of the public safety? Absolutely. But that doesn't give you the right to drive without due regard of the public safety as well. So this is where I can appreciate police posted is posted is that, he's trying to say, look, the risk versus reward on this, it's just not adding up, not even remotely close. And it's to save cops from going to prison, because had those cops hit somebody and killed them or seriously hurt them, they're going to go to jail. They are going to prison because you cannot articulate that you were driving within due regard of public safety when you're yourself are driving 100 miles an hour through an intersection, through a red light. And quite frankly, I don't even care if it's a green light.
No,
you can't go through an intersection that fast without properly clearing it. So the whole point behind this is, you've got one aspect out there saying that it's cool. And then you got another platform out there saying, hey, it's not cool. And we don't want cops to be doing things that are going to get somebody killed, either themselves or someone of the public. And in these court cases, if I would encourage you guys to go research them. There have been people that have been killed as a result of vehicle pursuits. And the one thing the courts are going to look at is, what were you chasing? Why were you chasing it? And what were the driving conditions? And unfortunately, if you want to go out there and put it out there that you're just going to get lucky and that no one's going to crash, then you're hinging on that. You're hinging your freedom and everything you own on the fact that you just hope that it goes your way. But what if it doesn't? What if it doesn't go your way? And in this instance, the cop decides to pit that vehicle. After the car came to a slow to clear an intersection, the car accelerated, the cop accelerated. They're still going at a pretty decent speed. He decides to pit that car. And on a narrow, busy downtown street where clearly the car that it hit was occupied because the brake lights are on. I don't know.
Here's where I struggle with that is you have an officer in the car, and then the driver of that patrol car that did the pit maneuver was a sergeant.
Yeah, he's ultimately the one making decisions out there, should be telling cops to or not to pursue vehicles. So here's the thing. You know as well as I do, you've been in several vehicle pursuits. I have too. You do get kind of wrapped up in the moment of, chasing the rabbit. And I totally understand that. But for you folks out there that are listening to this and you are thinking about maybe wanting to get into special duty assignments, especially a lot of liability behind it, you want to be able to show that you can make conscious decisions when you should pull back from something. Okay. And pursuits are a really good example of that. If you're in a car chase and things are getting to be a little bit out of control, and you yourself can cancel yourself off of that vehicle chase, that goes a long way with people, especially administrators. You're out there demonstrating that you can see the risk and that you can pull yourself back from the risk, that you're not so invested and emotionally invested in it that you're just going to keep on going because you just want to catch the bad guy or you want to chase the rabbit. Look, as a supervisor, I look for things like that in candidates that are testing for things that I've been directly supervised of the unit that I'm in now, and then canine units. You have to be able to make those decisions. And if you can't do those things, then you're going to start to gain that reputation that you're reckless, and you can't, reel yourself in. And when you start to test for certain assignments, I think you're going to have a hard time being able to sell that, because unfortunately people recognize those things.
Yep. And I think I'll end on, the public expects better decision-making than that. And your family could be out there sitting in that car or getting ready to do that crosswalk, running crossing when they shouldn't, but thinking that a car isn't going to be coming at 100 miles an hour. So this video is one that went viral, and it's continuing to go viral. It's hitting a lot of different social media aspects.
And again, we're not, some people may look at that and they think that it is cool. And then, some agencies out there are very overly aggressive with chasing people. Hey, that's fine. There's every agency has their own policy on pursuits. Regardless of the policy, I truly think that the risk is always going to outweigh the reward, and you constantly have to evaluate that. Just because your department allows you to do it, you still need to evaluate what you're doing, and you make that conscious decision to scale back.
Yep.